teaching you the art of industrial real estate. This is On Air with Team Jensen.
All right, listeners. Welcome to episode 12 of On Air with Team Jensen. Today we have Doug Wilder with CKF on with us. Thanks for coming on, Doug.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Doug is newer to the Kansas City market. CKF is out of Omaha, and Doug's been up here for now how many years, Doug?
We came down in March of 2019.
Okay, yeah. So right before things got interesting here in
Yes.
2020.
Yeah.
But excited to have you on, and kind of want to highlight what you guys are doing in town. And I know you guys are newer to town, but you're making your presence felt, and that's for sure. And excited to see you guys grow in Kansas City. But just starting out, if you want to introduce, who you are and how you got plugged in with CKF, and kind of your story.
Sure.
Coming from Omaha now to Kansas City, and what got us here today.
Well, CKF's a 100-year-old company this year, as a matter of fact. So,
All right.
and I've been with them since 2008, but I started my career as a carpenter.
Okay.
And just kind of came up through the ranks building houses. Eventually started my own business in remodeling and building homes. And
this was in Omaha?
In Omaha,
okay.
Yeah. And got to know a lot of the builders and the market up there just through my profession. And I started doing some work for CKF with their installation program as a subcontractor in a 96-ish arena.
Okay.
And 2008, the owner, Sam, offered me a position to come on in and kind of upgrade their commercial and construction management. The salespeople were selling, and they were going off like gangbusters, but nobody's really there to help the salespeople manage the job sites. So
getting things from start to finish.
Yeah,
right?
and he wanted his salespeople selling more than running projects. So when I came in, we started training project managers and taking the job sites from start to finish.
Nice.
And so we handle countertops and cabinetry. We did fireplaces, which is what the F was for in CKF. So we did that for a very long time, and just ended that department maybe 7 years ago. Excuse me. Just a noisy category, fireplaces. So we ended up getting out of that and focused on our countertops and cabinetry. So
got it.
The 100-year-old story is Sam started working for Consolidated Supply, which was basically a lumber wholesale company throughout the Midwest region. Would sell nails, screws, lumber, gutters, whatever lumber yards sell.
Right.
And when he came aboard, he was just in data entry. Fascinating story. And worked his way up to outside sales. And then that family was going to sell the company. His kids did not want to take it over. So Sam and his wife scraped up some money and bought the company, and has been developing it ever since.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Started with 13 people, and morphed it up to about 350.
So he's really molded it into what it is today.
Yeah, he's certainly built the business.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, he's a great guy to work for. He's a family guy. It's kind of how he runs the business.
Yeah, takes care of his people.
Takes care of his people. Got a lot of tenure there, so.
Yeah.
So he's been running it ever since '86, and his wife bought it in '86, so it's been his. And then in 2019, he sold the company to us, so it's now 100% employee owned, which is nice.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of the tenured people that are there are really vested in making
yeah.
And
yeah.
Is he still heavily involved? Or?
Heavily involved, yeah. And we're a much better company when he is.
Yeah.
He's really good at what he does. He's really good at marketing his products toward the customer needs, watching the cost. In fact, he was just down here a couple weeks ago, and we went to visit some of our builders and just talk about their programs and some of their troubles in the market with interest rates and prices going up on their homes, and trying to keep that price down so homeowners can buy.
Right.
Yeah.
As you guys know, the struggle's real for young homeowners wanting to buy
No kidding.
a home. So,
Yeah, especially more so today than it was 5 years ago with the rates and everything.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's been a challenging time for sure. Yeah, a couple of years ago, it's like, I don't know if I want to buy in this environment. And it's like, well, now it's like, I don't know if I can buy in this environment. It's a little trickier right now.
Yeah, I think it's a struggle for young people.
Right.
Sure.
And you guys are doing mostly new builds, right? I mean, for the most part.
So we have all categories. We have commercial salespeople that'll stick in the commercial arena, and then retail remodel that'll work out of our showroom, and then we have salespeople that'll hit the builder market and do new construction.
Okay.
Now on the new construction side, is that just like standalone single family, like residential stuff, or are you doing like multifamily too?
We'll do both.
You'll
The
do both.
multifamily, we kind of push over to our commercial division.
Okay.
Let that staff run it. They're a little bit more versed in all the languages of what commercial needs for those.
I would imagine that's a little bit more of a cookie cutter type based need versus customizing around a new home or something like that too.
Yeah, and so even a new builder that'll come to us, he might bring us 5 or 6 plans.
Right.
You know, we'll adapt a program with cabinets and countertops for that.
Right.
For those plans. That's usually how it stays within that year.
So you'll have a few variations
Yeah.
that you kind of run with and a builder likes. And okay.
And that way they can set up a program for their homeowners. They can set the price point for those homes.
Right.
Kind of stay within that range.
Right. And still have some options to pick from, pick
Yeah.
and choose.
And they can always upgrade with the builder, of course, but
Right.
I know the builder tries to keep that cost down to where, just to get them in a house. So
Yeah, makes sense.
some of that'll morph over. You know, some of the multifamilies builder might handle like a 6-plex or something. Where we'll keep on that
Got
on
it.
the residential side. But
Right,
the bigger
right.
projects that are running, 20 buildings for
Dozens of
apartment,
units and stuff. Yeah.
We'll run that through our commercial division.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
And outside, you guys are in Omaha. You have a strong presence, I know.
Yeah.
And in Kansas City, you guys are wanting to grow your presence here. Are there other markets in the general area that you guys kind of have your
So-
eyes on or are active in?
we've been in Des Moines just as long as Omaha, so
Okay.
we have a strong presence there. We just opened up another division in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. There
Okay.
was the new building market up there is really taking off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Lincoln, Nebraska. When we've been there, I want to say maybe 15 to 20 years.
What is that from Omaha again?
It's 50 miles.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not bad. It's pretty. In fact, most of our services, our deliveries, and our install crews will service the Lincoln area.
Yeah, so that's doable.
Yeah, it's like driving from Lenexa to Grain Valley.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Yeah. Okay.
But, Kansas City, it's certainly got, the market's huge, so
Yeah.
much bigger than Omaha, so there's a lot of growth potential here for us.
Yeah. Well, and I know, multifamily the last handful of years, it's been popping up left and right, and I think it's not, I think maybe it's slowed down a tiny bit, but I think there's still plenty of going on.
Oh, I know. There was a point where I wondered how they were filling all those, and then they just keep building them.
It is
So
amazing,
obviously
isn't it?
they're filling them. But
Well, and the builders tell us there's still a shortage, so
Yeah.
you're right. When I see all the building, I'm like, where is everybody coming from? But we're still short
Well,
of
and the
inventory.
metro is slowly just growing and growing. So
Yeah, I think that's one thing for me coming down here from Omaha and moving here was it's just a massive area. And obviously we come down for pleasure
yeah, Yeah.
all the time to Kansas City. Lots to do down here. So, but yeah, the market's huge. The area's huge.
Yeah.
Easy to get around though, I feel.
Yeah. Well, and so tell us, when you were moving to Kansas City, and because you were kind of tasked with, hey, go down to Kansas City and get us going down here. When you came down, tell us a little bit about your experience with that. I know you've grown to love Kansas City, but you weren't very familiar with it before you got here, right?
Yeah, other than coming to Royal games, when I was a kid, or Worlds of Fun, that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Wasn't all that familiar. I have 3 sons, and we came down here for ball tournaments, that sort of thing. So
Right,
it was just,
right.
I knew that much about Kansas City, but nothing about what the construction market was like or the commercial market was like. So
yeah,
as I've been down here, Omaha and Kansas City, I think, are very similar.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kansas City is a little bit more spread out, and it's a little bit bigger area, but I feel like the people and the culture
Yeah.
and the businesses, construction, all mirror each other pretty good. The food scene,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's all very similar. And I talked to a lot of Kansas City people that actually go to Omaha to do things, like go to the
Right.
zoo. And
Yeah.
Oh, and the College World Series
College
is
World
awesome.
Series is huge. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's interesting to see the 2 people going back and forth.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Well, and yeah, I feel like they are very comparable. I think the main reason we're a little bit larger is just because we're on a main kind of thoroughfare through to the Denvers.
Well, and just the 3-hour trip too. I mean, it's easy to go spend a weekend getaway.
Yeah, for
just
sure.
to do something
Very
like
easy
that.
for
Yeah.
both Kansas City or Omaha people to travel.
And
back
you run
forth.
into the nice midwestern people
Yeah.
that you have in
Yeah,
Omaha.
sure seems like it.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and you guys are still now. When I remember you telling me when you came to town, you guys kind of explored different neighborhoods and kind of where you wanted to end up. And have you guys landed and put up your home or kind of set your place as home yet, or do you know where you want to end up?
We ended up, as far as CKF,
Well,
and myself.
and yourself individually.
We ended up in Lenexa, but yeah, interesting. When I first came down, it was kind of it was abrupt, let's say. Sam likes to move very quickly, our owner, and so they had proposed this idea to me on a Friday, and Monday morning he asked me what I wanted to do. Like, what was your decision?
Yeah.
So when I first started coming down, obviously I still had our house in Omaha, and we just started a kitchen remodel. So the house was tore up, and so I said, how about if I just come down here Monday through Thursday, work, come back Friday, work on the house, get things so I could sell the house. And so in the meantime, what I did is I decided just to stay in Airbnbs throughout the city. Each week I came down instead of hotels.
Okay, yeah.
And then it really helped me learn. I mean, I would stay all over the place. I would go way out and go downtown and Brookside and Lenexa. And so each of those weeks I would pick a new region to stay in, which really helped me learn the city pretty quickly, helped me learn the traffic, and what it was like going to work in the morning, what it was like coming home to those places. I think that was really beneficial.
Yeah.
Ended up in Lenexa, only it just ended up being really close to work. I'm 8 minutes from the office.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we probably looked at 70 houses, and the hard part was we couldn't pull the trigger right away because we weren't in a spot yet to sell our house.
Yeah, right.
And things were going so quickly back then in 2019.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. The market was on fire.
I would look at a house on Zillow, and we would go look. I would go drive by it that night, and
gone.
it was already gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really crazy. But that's what I would do. I didn't have anything else to do at night after work, so I would just drive around the city. And
Right,
I
go check it
actually
out.
called my wife and said, "Here's a house for sale," and she would pull it up,
Right.
and we would kind of virtually view it.
Yeah.
And then know if we wanted to make an offer or not. So it actually really helped me with all those little neighborhoods.
Yeah,
I
right.
learned it pretty quickly. So
Right. Well, and Lenexa is a good spot to end up. And
Yeah.
as far as CKF, is there? I mean, I see a lot of similar type of companies out there. Are there some main reasons why you guys located in Lenexa?
So the building was ran by another company that was basically going out of business when Sam took over. So we kept a lot of their employees, and we kept the lease on the building. And
Okay.
it was kind of they had nothing to do with cabinetry. They sold some countertops.
Okay.
Okay.
So we had a little bit of an infrastructure, nothing like what we really needed, and so we just started to build from there, and that's where it was obviously.
So it was a good enough fit initially that it just made sense.
Yeah, it
and-
worked out great. There
yeah,
was
yeah.
22 employees I think we kept initially, and just started from there. So
Yeah, well, in a tight labor market too, I'm sure that was also beneficial in some sense.
yeah,
to-
but you're right. There's a lot of like businesses in that area.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
this seems to be a really good business area
Right.
to be in.
Yeah, I think it's a great location for a group like you guys, and and you guys are working on a big remodel too yourselves. Which do you guys use? I'm sure all the cabinets you use on your remodel for your showroom. That's all you guys, right?
Yeah, so when we set up our displays, it'll be our products, our cabinet lines, and our countertops. We run 7 or 8 different cabinet lines from vendors all over the U.S., 2 in Canada. They come to us pre-finished, which sometimes might be the difference in this market to Omaha. We've traded the market in Omaha from custom cabinets to pre-finished.
Okay.
There's a negative connotation to that 20, 25 years ago.
Okay.
But they really are custom cabinets. We design them. They'll build whatever we design. They just come with a better finish than you can get in the field. Much like you wouldn't buy a car unpainted and want to paint it in your garage yourself,
Right.
because you could save a little bit of money. The finish is really top notch. The warranties are great.
Is that something that you guys are doing that's somewhat unique, or are other groups, competitors doing some?
There's
some
other
similar
competitors with
stuff?
some pre-finish, and I think Casey's softening to that particular. It feels like for us, the people we're talking to, is softening it to bring those cabinet lines in. I think they're seeing pretty good results, and
Yeah.
we offer install programs with our guys that we have that are used to our cabinet lines, putting that stuff together,
Right.
and but it's all custom, much like your custom cabinet shops here in KC. They're building off specs that people are drawing, and so are our cabinet companies. They just come finished.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
a little bit more color variations I think we could have, whether it be stain or paint, which is nice. But the finishes they're just top notch. You can really tell a difference.
Yeah. How many color lines do you guys have to choose from in the cabinetry?
Oh, there's a number from, I mean, you can go up to 25 different colors,
Oh, wow.
paint
Okay.
colors.
That's
And the companies we use, we've been partners with for 20, 25 years, a lot of these vendors. So they'll if we tell them something's trending, they'll
Right.
work on those color changes,
They can
whether it be
adapt.
stain or paint.
Yeah.
And they'll give us a couple new colors, which will be nice.
Yeah. Well, that's just nice variation to have. I mean, I did it's been almost 5 years now when I like did a kitchen remodel, and I went kind of the route of pre-made or prefab stuff, and I only had like maybe 5 colors to choose from, and it was pretty limited. But I was obviously I was first home working with a different budget, and just kind of went with what I got. But
you're also the type of person that if you have too many options, you'll never make up your mind.
hey.
We have those type of people. Yeah.
I'm a thorough evaluator.
It's like, oh my God, just decide on the color. Oh.
Well, there's so many cool options out there, but most people will end up, they will like the wow colors and the wow displays, but then they tend to go a little bit safe and go back to a
Well,
regular
we always
shaker
give him a
white.
hard time because when he was doing his kitchen,
Yeah.
he returned his refrigerator like 2 or 3 times.
I didn't return it.
He canceled the.
I changed my order on Nebraska Furniture Mart like 3 or 4 times. The last one, I was like, wait, I can get an ice maker in my freezer also and on the door? And that was the final straw.
So you're that kind of customer.
Yes. Depends. You know, when I'm making a long-term decision, like I'm going to have that appliance forever. So I wanted to make sure I get the right one.
Which one did you end up getting?
I got like an LG fridge. I couldn't even tell you the model or anything anymore, but it's got an ice maker on the door and the freezer, which was my big kicker for me at the time. And
That's
looking
our,
back, I have the one on the door turned off because I don't need that much ice. But no, yeah. So I have that reputation in the family and
It comes up every now and again. Whenever he can't make up his mind.
Yeah.
You know.
It happens.
So.
It happens. No, but and so in Kansas City, you guys are 3-4 years into the market.
Yep.
As far as what are some things you guys are trying to do here? Obviously, you're talking to more builders. Are there any ways you're trying to tap more into the remodel world and just individuals out there that are looking to do a big custom remodel?
Well, much like anybody in this industry, we go to the trade shows.
Okay.
And we do a little bit of marketing. Most of the time, we just call up and visit and just lay out our programs with these particular, whether it be a builder or a remodeler. We'll bring them into our showroom. We'll have a couple parties a year at our place, some wine and cheese events, that sort of thing, some barbecue events, bring people in.
Get
just
people through, yeah.
Let them see what's going on in the showroom. And then really when you come in, it's kind of nice because you just hook up with a designer.
Yeah.
And you just sit down and bring your prints in or your ideas, and we'll start the initial drawings and then make any revisions that need to be made throughout that whole process. So we'll walk the people through that whole process.
Right, so you guys have some designers that can put together a conceptual and show you digitally what it would look like, that kind of stuff.
All that stuff, 20/20 drawings they call them, and so they'll give you that visual and that perspective.
Cool.
Company-wide, we probably have over 35 designers.
Okay.
So and they're always meeting and talking about the new trends and what they're seeing in the market. We have a lot of designers, and KC is really heavy on the design arena. A lot of quality women out there designing.
Yeah.
Interior designers, and
Right.
It's been fascinating to meet with a lot of those people too as well and get their ideas.
Do you guys ever correspond with like the residential broker community?
That's something we've talked about. So we just recently, it's funny you say that, we just recently brought in, we had a broker come into the Omaha office, and she wanted to bring in a lot of her colleagues.
Yeah.
And so we did a wine and cheese, and it was pretty beneficial for them up there.
'Cause, I mean, they're the ones that are in front of the buyer,
All the
seller,
time.
you know.
Right. They
Yeah.
probably know what they're looking for before most people do, and
And they've got their hand on a trend on trends that are coming through and stuff like
Right.
that too, probably.
Right.
So
So our showrooms in the middle are getting started on a remodel, so we can reboot some of our displays. But that will be one of the things.
Yeah.
We'd like to have some wine and cheese events with some realtors and then maybe some landscapers. That's a whole. What they're looking for is a little bit different than what a new builder's looking for. So we'd like to kind of bring those in specific to their industry and show them our products that they can use.
Yeah.
That we end up selling through our countertops.
well, and you guys have a team that goes and installs on site and is doing the actual
Correct.
the install in the field, right?
Yep.
Is that how many of those 350 employees? Is a majority of those probably field crew, or is that
Yes, we have company-wide probably 40 salespeople, I would say.
Okay.
Rest are designers, CAD techs, which draw up our
Right.
Yep.
our countertop drawings, templaters that go out in the field and template the countertops, designers that'll design our cabinet layouts. We have project managers, which I think is unique to CKF. We actually have people that have been in the industry and can go out to the job site prior, do the measuring, making sure things are going to fit.
Right.
Maybe work with the other subcontractors, electricians, builders, framers, plumbers, get everything kind of lined up. And then at that point, we'll set up our service and installation team that will coordinate deliveries and installations with our teams. And so those guys will go out in the field and install off the schedule. And then we'll have service techs that'll take care of any service needs, whether it be immediate service issues or 5-6 years down the road when a customer calls and either has a chip in a countertop or has a bad hinge on a cabinet door.
Right.
We're there to replace it. I think that's the one thing Sam's really instilled in our company is, that level of service. It doesn't stop once a homeowner moves in. We go back and service customers 5-10 years down the road that we've built relationships with, and we'll take care of them. So I think that's been a big turn for his company.
Yeah, I mean I would love that. I went cheap with my cabinets, and I had I have a couple cabinet doors that, and again I'm
They
a little
just
particular.
see ya.
Well, no, they had like a 1-year thing, and it's like, okay, well you installed this wrong, and so now it's gonna continue to to start to hang and not close properly, and it's on like 2 or 3 doors, and they just see.
Yeah.
And
Well, to your point, if you continue to take care of people like that over the years, if someone's in their house for 15 years, chances are they're gonna have a kitchen project or something that they're gonna do in the future, and who are they gonna turn to?
Or their neighbors,
Or
or
their
friends,
neighbor, yeah.
or their kids.
Word
or
of
their
mouth is
parents,
probably
or,
huge. Yeah.
I think you guys would agree. I think right now in the service industry, whether it be a restaurant or a cabinet door, the biggest thing is getting somebody to care enough that they want to come out and give you a hand or help you out.
Yes.
Right.
And it makes a lasting impression.
Yeah.
When you do get that level of service.
So that's one thing Sam is really, that's pretty much how he built the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He's able to go into his office. If something's not working, he'll figure out a way to make it work. He'll figure out a way to make it affordable for the customer, whether it's the homeowners or the builders. He'll come up with these packages, and it's really fun to watch him work. He's just unique in that way.
Yeah. And so he's been there the whole time you've been there, right?
Oh, he's the guy that started it. So
Yeah,
he's been
right.
there 45 years.
Right.
86, he took it over. So
Okay.
I can only imagine the changing time. Just like any long-term profession, but just staying creative and adapting to the changing times and trends and everything of, just the typical consumer and your guys' typical customer. That's probably looks very different in 2000 versus 2023 versus 1995. Just those generational changes. It just has to imagine. It's crazy, but.
well, and he's able to, like I said, come up with those programs as times change. What we did during COVID was largely his leadership and how we shifted as a company. 2008, when the market was horrible and things were collapsing, how did we shift and stay alive as a company?
Yeah.
So a lot of that was just him and our CEO, our president, Don Steffensmeyer, has been with him literally since the beginning.
Really?
So those two have really partnered up with sales and accounting and the financials, and it's just been a great team. They've been able to bounce off of each other and really keep this company steered in the right direction.
And just out of curiosity, what kept you guys busy? 07, 08, those were tough years, and I can only imagine.
Is that about the time you say 08 is when you came over?
I came aboard. So what helped us significantly is Omaha was the White's company was doing a project for Mutual of Omaha called Midtown Crossing, and there was 8 buildings, 8 stories. It was a big condo community.
Okay.
And it was actually the largest construction project going on at that time in the Midwest.
Wow.
And so honestly, we had no idea what we were doing, but we sold the cabinets and the countertops and the fireplaces at that time to this project. And it was the largest thing we'd ever taken on. And again, we had no idea. All of us were way in over our head
Right.
from sales all the way to our project managers. And it was just a lot to take on. And we learned a lot, though, throughout that project. And it kept things moving in our company. It kept us fluid and
Yeah.
and moving along. So,
Yeah.
and after that, for us in Omaha, it really exploded for us commercially. We became the company that could do larger building projects, larger commercial projects with cabinets and countertops and fireplaces at the time. And so that really kind of pushed us through. Did a little bit of residential, but as you guys know, it was scary driving through subdivisions.
Right.
There was nothing going on. I mean,
Kidding.
Right.
some houses were half framed and they stayed that way for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys
crazy time.
jumped in, and that was kind of a pivotal point for you. Then
Yeah.
it kind of set off a new revenue stream and a new area of work.
Which looking back, I think was brilliant in Sam's, mind's eye, to where he was able to take on those different categories and not just be focused on
Right.
like a new builds.
Right.
Shifted into remodel and commercial work, and
Yeah.
which was also what helped us during COVID. Was people shifted, as you guys know, into a lot of remodels and not a lot of new construction.
Right.
And
Right.
we were established in the remodel arena, and once again, that really
Yeah.
helped us get through some of that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been good foresight on his part.
Yeah, everybody wanted to do a home project there when they were spending all the time in the world there.
Yeah.
For
They were looking
a
at
good
how bad
stretch.
stuff was at their house.
yeah, tired of looking at it.
So we
yeah.
got to do something. They weren't spending any money elsewhere. They
Right.
weren't-
Right.
They weren't
Right.
going anywhere.
Yeah, that's
So.
true. Yeah.
How about you guys? What did it do to the commercial arena down here in 2008?
Oh, well, we weren't actively working yet, but I do remember Dan, our dad. He had a big listing that it was a big, like 600,000 square foot warehouse out in out in Olathe that he had kind of he put it all together, all the planning, and he developed it for Sun Life Assurance out of Canada. And he was beating the drum of, we need to speculatively build in our market. That's how we're going to get big users. And then all of a sudden, the world ended overnight. And I still remember him being pretty dang stressed out
Sure.
During those
No
times.
doubt.
And so I mean, and you talk to some of the senior brokers here, and I mean, it was quiet and a very, very, very slow year. But at the same time, I think there were a lot of opportunities that came about, and it also kind of, led to the tidal wave of a upswing we've seen in really the last 5 years. So, I mean, but yeah, definitely it got ugly. But I mean, the market still. I think Kansas City we're fortunate. We don't see the high highs and the low lows that a lot of the bigger markets do. I think a lot of that had to do with there wasn't much institutional ownership here in Kansas City. That's kind of changed the last couple of years, which does give me more concern that over time we might be more volatile like some of the larger markets, but at the same time I still think we have more conservative approach from owners in town, generally speaking, which I think protects us a little bit from the dark days, getting real dark. But I would say, yeah, I mean, it was pretty slow back then. And then the pandemic, though, it was weird for our, we were fortunate industrially speaking. Kansas City was about as busy as any market in the country. And so, a lot of the groups that we've been working with, over the years and that are in our arena were deemed essential businesses, and so a lot of them were needing space and were even growing because of their inventory struggles. Right. And so
the supply chain, things were impossible to get, so people were buying as much as they could. It's like now I need more space.
Right.
So it's like it was catch-22 there for a while, but. And obviously the boom of e-commerce, everyone's sitting at their house and ordering off Amazon and that kind of stuff. It just, fueled the fire from an industrial perspective. So, yeah.
And that's what led to, I mean, the market was so dynamic the last couple of years. And like some of the things we've looked at, the pricing is just, compared to when you guys entered Kansas City market, the pricing's just probably
crazy.
Grown 30% at least, and so, it's been a dynamic market, but I think as a lot of us have seen in 23, things have slowed down a little bit. But it's funny because if you compare it to 20 or 19 and 20, it's still been a pretty dang healthy year for us. It's just not quite as wild as 21 and 22 were.
Right.
So we're still happy with where the market's at, and I think it's candidly the pullback and more supply coming on market. I think is just going to provide more opportunity for companies like yours to grow. And so I think the market kind of needed the balance of supply and demand.
Well,
to
and
come
anytime, it doesn't have to be the pandemic or '08, but even when there's market slowdown and pullback, that there's new opportunities that are being opened up that maybe weren't there when shit was on fire. So it will be an interesting year.
Well, and it feels like at any given point, the market resets itself and kind of just adjusts it to what it needs to be.
Right.
And you're right what you said about Kansas City being, I think the Midwest is shielded from that very high and very lows.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but I think this whole region kind of stays steady,
Right.
which is really nice for businesses.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's easy to get envious of the high highs that you see in some of the big time markets, but at the same time, I wouldn't trade it for the low lows.
Right.
So I think it's nice being in an even keel market where you have some consistency, and I think it's just there's a lot of reputable businesses and a lot of reliable connections and things like that. So.
Yeah, it's a lot less crazy to feel that steady growth than the extreme highs or the extreme lows.
Right.
That back and forth is, I'd just rather have the steady climb.
Right.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But and as far as you guys still had, and 23 was a great year for you guys in Kansas City, right?
Yeah, we've been trying to push our numbers up. I've had some goals for our sales staff for quite some time to hit around 10 million, and we're going to do that this year. So it's
awesome.
I can't tell you how happy I am with our staff. We have 32 people now. We've grown to 32 people, and as a team, it's been a fun group to work with. They're like-minded people. They're all working hard. They're moving in the same direction. We just had our holiday party at Serve.
Nice.
That's right.
Which was great. Didn't know how that was going to go. We generally do something kind of formal.
Yeah.
Wear a nice jacket, go get a nice dinner, and
Right.
and visit a little bit. But this time we decided to break it
people
out of Serve.
got
'em
people moving. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and it's just a really good group of people, and I think everybody's kind of headed in the same direction for 2024. So
Right.
Nice.
And didn't you guys do the cabinets at Serve, or am I wrong?
we did the countertops
Or
there.
countertops,
Yeah, so,
okay.
yeah.
Got to
And,
see some of your product.
yeah,
out
we
there
got to
too.
see some of our product, and it was just fun. Everybody gets to bring their significant other, and
Yeah.
and it got pretty competitive, which I was surprised.
Pickleball, people get into it. There's always at least one person that you're almost not expecting it to, and they're like the most into it, and they just dominate the court.
Well, that person's name is Heidi. She is a new employee of ours. She just started maybe a couple months ago. She's a new CAD tech for us, and she was killing everybody. It was so much fun. So it was great to see a new employee with us to kind of get involved, and
Good.
it's a great way to the team can kind of get away from the stress at work,
Right.
hang out with each other, talk about other things than work, and
Yeah.
get to know each other.
Well, it's really cool. I mean, and so 15 or 20 of those folks are still folks that were at the facility before,
yeah.
and they're going to be closing doors, and then you guys
Yeah.
came in, and now you're kind of providing a resurgence. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure, A, it's cool, but B, they probably have a pretty great deal of appreciation, too, for seeing just the turn from the last 5 years, really. With
I
you
think
guys.
that'd be a fair assessment. They've all appreciated what CCAF has brought. We're a totally different company, even culturally, than who they used to work for.
Yeah.
And they didn't know anything about cabinetry, which has been real fun to kind of teach them all that stuff and mentor them with our cabinet lines and getting them to understand that's part of our programs is the cabinet side of things. And they've all
Right.
bought in and worked really hard to learn it and make a difference and grow the accounts and get into this market.
That retention just speaks to CKF as a company too. You take care of your people, and it's a nice place to work, and their people are motivated. And
Yeah, I think overall that's the message we try to. Not a whole lot of yelling and screaming and that sort of stuff. Just come to work hard, and go home, and
Right.
try to make the company a little bit better.
Yeah.
Whatever we do.
In 2024, do you guys have a number of projects that will be keeping you guys busy, or anything on the horizon you can?
We've worked up several new programs with some builders, so we're hoping those will launch. Commercially, I think we're going to be adding some new accounts. So right now, at the end of 2023 is when we kind of sit down with existing customers and talk about their year 2024, what they're projecting, and then sit down with some new customers and see, what we can provide for you in 2024. So,
Yeah.
I think it'll be a nice year for us. I think we just have the potential to grow here in Kansas City. Maybe our other markets, Omaha and Des Moines, might flatten out just a bit with interest rates and the way the building is right now. But it's going to be hard to tell. We kind of thought that this year, and it didn't really happen. So
Yeah.
it's hard to predict that first and second quarter until we see what's going on.
Right. Well, and I mean, appreciate you coming on. And
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great meeting you guys. And
Yeah.
No doubt.
just so everybody knows too, we met because we were looking for a larger facility.
Yeah.
You guys have been helping me look for that, so kind of formed a relationship there, though. So, and hopefully
Yeah,
as we
hey.
keep growing, that's the next goal, right? Another place.
No, absolutely.
Those working relationships don't develop overnight too.
No.
You
Yeah.
gotta keep working it. So
Well, and our listeners, I'm sure they'll start noticing CKF trucks around town like we did after we met you.
Yeah.
But,
now, every time I'm cruising down 35, I
swear.
say,
But if someone wants to get in touch with CKF, what's the best way to get in touch with you about whether it's their home remodel or even a larger project they might have in mind? What's the best way to reach out?
Well, there's our website's ckfco.com. You
Okay.
can learn all about us on that website. We're in Lenexa at a showroom. We're open 8 to 5 every day except Saturday and Sunday. So you're more than welcome to come in and even browse around. No high pressure sales. We have a slab gallery of about 56 slabs that you can view, and then we have probably 10 vignettes of our cabinetry. That's going to be changing here in the first quarter of next year.
Okay.
So we're bringing in all new displays for both countertops and cabinetry. So that's going to be coming up next.
Cool.
So yeah, that's where we're located.
Good. Yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks again for coming on.
No, thanks for having me,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Tim.
that's episode 12.